We're going to continue factorization, but in different ways. There are a lot of types of factorization. This is why I was trying to put in the tutorials different ways for you to be able to factorize. The first important thing is for you to know how many parts the expression is made up of. Here, in this example, I have this is one part, and I have this as another, and I have this as a third part. This is already into two parentheses. But what about the one in the middle? Again, it's two terms. What does it give me? It gives me two parentheses, one a plus, one a minus. What is the radical of 9x to the second? It's 3x, which is my a. What's the radical of 16? It's a 4. So 3x minus 4, 3x plus 4. What about this? It's already done, but I need to open it up. 3x minus 4 to the second power, what does it stand for? 3x minus 4, another 3x minus 4. Step number 2 is rewriting the full expression after I have changed and factorized the parts of the expression. Now, where is my common parenthesis in between? I need 3 common parentheses for the 3 parts. So it's 3x minus 4, 3x minus 4, 3x minus 4. I bring them down as 1. What do I do to the rest? I open a big bracket. I start from left to right. I have 2x plus 5 in parentheses. I jump. I have a minus sign. 3x plus 4. And then I jump. I have a plus sign. And I have a 3x minus 4. And now what do? I open within my bracket to see what's the like terms, add and subtract them. 2x plus 5, I distribute my minus 3x minus 4 plus 3x minus 4. And now I start adding and subtracting. Don't forget to bring down your first parenthesis till the end. And now 2x minus 3x is a minus x, plus 3x is a 2x. 5 minus 4 is a 1, minus 4 is a minus 3. I keep on looking. Is there any GCF here? None. Is there a GCF here? None. So this is my answer. My factorized answer is this. Alright, our second example here. Again, I have to identify number of parts. This is one part, this is another. But here I have a negative sign. So this negative sign is already reflected into this trinomials, which is made up of 3 terms. Made up of 3 terms, I'm going to have one parenthesis that is to the second power. But before that, because there was a negative before all of this as a parenthesis, these signs were pluses before the parenthesis was open up. So it's actually x to the second plus 4x plus 4. And now I radicalize my x to the second, which is an x. A plus and a plus give me a plus. Radical of 4 is a 2. How do I check? 2 times a times b, which is 2 times x times 2, which is 4x. Yes, it is correct. I bring down the first part of my expression, 2x minus 5 and x plus 2, and there's a minus. But this is not done yet because it is to the second power. What does it mean? It means it's an x plus 2 and an x plus 2. 2 parentheses with the same sign of the same kind. I bring down the expression as it is. Every step I do, I have to bring down what's left from my expression. And now it's made up of 2 parts, 1, 2. So I need 2 common parentheses, which is the x plus 2. I bring it down as 1. And I open a big bracket and I start from left to right. I have an 2x minus 5. I jump to the minus sign and I have an x plus 2. And now I start working within my parentheses. 2x minus 5 minus x minus 2, and I start adding and subtracting my like terms. 2x minus x is an x, minus 5 minus 2 is a negative 7, and I don't forget to bring down my first parenthesis. So my final answer factorized, do I have any GCF here? None, and neither here, none. So I have to write, this is my answer for factorization. So the first part is always identify how many parts an expression has. So this is one, this is another, and this is a third. The one in the beginning has only one parenthesis, but there is an x to the second minus 16. Two terms. I bring down my 6 and I leave it as it is. Two terms gives me two parentheses, one a plus, one a minus. What is the x to the second? The radical of it, it's an x. The radical of 16 is a 4 and a 4. I move on. There's a negative sign. The second part is already done for me. It's two parentheses, so I leave them as they are. X minus 4. I move on to a plus sign. What do I have here? There is no parenthesis here that is equal to the parenthesis before that. So what do? There's something hidden. I have a GCF here of 2. I bring the 2 after my plus sign and I start dividing. 8 divided by 2 is a 4. Minus 2x divided by 2 is a negative x, and I bring down my x plus 2. Because the GCF is to this part, I have to put the 2 after my plus sign. And now, where are my common parentheses? I have 1, 2, 3. Where's my common parentheses? X minus 4, but this is a 4 minus x. So what do I need to do? I need to change signs. So I multiply this with a negative 1 and this with a negative 1. Plus 2 becomes a minus 2. A 4 becomes a negative 4. A minus x becomes a plus x. And I bring down the full expression as it is. X plus 4, x minus 4, minus 3x plus 1, and x minus 4. Now, I have 3 parts, and I need 3 parentheses. X minus 4, minus 4 plus x, all of them are the similar. I take them off as 1. And now I open a big bracket for what's left. I start from left to right. I have a 6, parentheses x plus 4. I jump to the minus. I have a 3x plus 1. Again, I jump to my minus 2, and I have an x plus 2. For me to be able to continue, I look at my big bracket. I have distributive property, I have small parentheses, I have negative signs. I start working on them. 6 times x is a 6x, 6 times 4 is a 24. Minus times 3x is a negative 3x. Negative times plus 1 is a negative 1. Minus 2 times 2x is a negative 2x. Negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4. And I start adding and subtracting my like terms within my parentheses. Don't forget to bring down your first parenthesis as it is. Again, bring it down to the final answer. Start adding and subtracting. 6x minus 3x is 3x. Minus 2x is an x. 24 minus 1 is a 23. Minus 4 is a 19. Plus 19. Again, I look back into my parentheses. Do I have a GCF? None. Do I have a GCF? None. So this is my factorized answer. Alright, our last example again. I identify how many parts I have. This is 1. This is 1 without a parenthesis, and this is 1 without a parenthesis. I start off with the beginning. It's made up of 3 terms, so it gives me 1 parenthesis to the second power. I radicalize my 4x to give me a 2x, radicalize the 1 to give me a 1, minus and a plus give me a minus. What does this mean? It means it's a 2x minus 1 and a 2x minus 1. I move on. Minus. Here I keep them as they are. I do not change signs or anything until I see at the end what do I have. There's a minus signs here. What does it mean? This is a minus at the beginning, not a plus. But there's a GCF here. It's 2 terms. I cannot radicalize 3 and I cannot radicalize 12. So there's a GCF of 3. I put it outside, bring down my minus 3. 12x to the second, divide by minus 3. Let's take it as a 3, is a 4x to the second. Plus 3 divided by minus 3 is a negative 1. And now, what do I have in my parentheses? 2 terms. So I'm going to have 2 parentheses, 1 a plus, 1 a minus. What's the radical of 4x to the second? It's 2x. The radical of 1 is a 1. And now my expression is done. I rewrite it all into one step before I move on. minus 1 minus 2x, 3x plus 5. I don't forget to bring down my negative 3. Now, 3 parts, so I should have 3 common parentheses, 2x minus 1, 1 minus 2x, and a 2x minus 1. What do? I have to change signs to be able to change this parenthesis. Times a negative 1 times a negative 1. Minus and a minus give me a plus. 1 times a negative 1 gives me a negative 1. Minus 2x times a negative gives me a plus 2x. And I rewrite the expression as it is. 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. And then I bring down the first part, which is 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1. 3 parts. I need 3 parentheses. 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1. Bring it down as 1. Open a big bracket. Start off from left to right. I have a parenthesis, 2x minus 1. I jump to the plus sign. I have a parenthesis, 3x plus 5. I jump to the negative sign, 3, and I have a 2x plus 1. What do? I start working within my big bracket. 2x minus 1 plus 3x plus 5 minus 6x minus 3 times 1 is a negative 3. Don't forget to bring down your first parenthesis. Again, don't forget to bring down your first parenthesis. I start adding and subtracting my like terms. 2x plus 3x is a 5, minus 6 is a negative x, minus 1 plus 5 is a 4, minus 3 is a plus 1. Now, do I have any GCF here? None. Do I have any GCF here? None. So this is my factorized answer. Anyways, everything you do, I want you to go back to these 3 tutorials, see them step by step, and start working on your factorization. Factorization needs a bit of time, and it needs you to identify the parts and see what type it is. Is it a binomial, a trinomial? Is it a GCF? Is it a change of sign? Always remember, if you have 3 parts, you should have 3 common parentheses. You bring them down as 1. If you have 2 parts, you should have 2 parentheses. You bring them down as 1. All right? Okay.